Hello everyone, and welcome to DDS Workshop. My name's David, and this is my
I
workshop.
hate you.
What have I told you about speaking when the camera's on?
Well, I don't rightly care anymore. I hate you. In fact, I think I'm gonna kill you.
Well, it's a good thing you don't have any arms then, isn't it?
You're careless. You'll burn me down around you one day.
Well, then you'd die too.
Yeah, you've got insurance. I will be reborn, and you will be a smudge on my concrete.
Actually, you're so old and run down they'd probably just bulldoze what's left and rebuild. No rebirth, just a newer model where you used to be.
I hate you.
You'll get over it. So anyway, today I will be working on a cottonwood bark carving. I went through my cottonwood bark bin and I found this nice piece that just kind of spoke to me. So we'll turn this into something. Not exactly sure what yet. As you can see, I got my knives out
I hope you cut your wrists and bleed all over the place,
and a cut glove
and then die.
so that I don't cut myself.
Damn.
So we can get started and figure out what this wood is telling us it wants to be.
I'm gonna sleep.
You do that. Okay, Bark, tell me what you're gonna be.
I'm a fairy house. Look, I got my roof right here, and I got a chimney over here.
Okay. So if we start with the roof there, I see it now, I'm seeing it. Roof, chimney, okay. Okay. Looks good. Let's get started with that roof. Okay, so after a short conversation with the wood, we'll turn it into a fairy house. The wood shape doesn't really lend itself to a tree spirit. Maybe if it were up, I don't know. I've never been good with tree spirits anyway. But we can turn this into a pretty good fairy house. I think I'm seeing its vision now of what's trapped inside there. So let's get started with the roof. So with most houses that I make with cottonwood bark, I always start with the roof. That's usually the easiest thing to kind of pick out in the wood where it's going to be. So I get that out of the way and rough out the roof first. On this piece of wood there was a nice kind of separation at the top, so I could see exactly where the roof was going to go, and then I could put in a chimney, which I don't always put in, but this one had a nice little area already set up for it. So when I got to this point, the top of where the roof was going to be, there's just too much broken pieces. So I ended up just cutting off the whole top right there and shortening the roof a little bit. It didn't matter too much. I was able to shape the roof around it. But yeah, I mean, when something like that happens, it's just easier to get rid of the parts that you don't like and adjust your design a little bit. Okay, so I suppose I should use a cut glove all the time, but usually I'll put it on when I'm going to be pressing hard on something and I know that it could slip and jam into my hand. That's normally when I end up putting the cut glove on. A lot of times I don't feel like it's necessary because the knife is far enough away from my hand, especially with these big pieces. But for some of this bark, especially the edge bark on the sides, really thick, really hard, and very difficult to get through. So putting on that cut glove when I cut into it was kind of necessary. So after I get the roof roughed out, then I'll start roughing out under the roof. And I'll start with the eaves. I'll grab my V-tool, and right there I got my big V-tool. And I started really kind of roughing out underneath, just under the roof. And down, following it all the way down. Right there along the side, it was very, very hard to dig into. That was really hard bark.
Stop!
What? What?
But I wanted to keep that part.
No, I have to take it off.
Why? That's where my character is.
No, because there's too much there. You could put a lot of stuff in there. I like the character too, but...
Please?
No, there's just too much character in there. I'm going to have to take some of it off.
Darn it. Okay.
Yes, I know. Look, I'm going to try and save as much as I
It's
can.
gonna be ugly
Nobody
anyway.
asked you. Keep it shut, or I will board you up. So here I'm just doing a lot more roughing out. I like to try and rough out as much as I can before I even start looking at details. So right there you can see I am roughing out a doorway, and I'm trying to use as much of the natural area as I can, because that area down there in the bottom corner does have some really nice character to it, and I'm trying to use as much of that as possible. Okay, so in this portion I'm kind of planning out the features that it's going to have. Right here I'm putting in kind of a porthole window and a stone archway. I've decided to go with stone look for the bottom here. And you can see me drawing them in. I drew them in a little too soon because I had to cut down the window first. So when putting in windows or something like that, you're trying to create shadow, you're trying to create contrast between the different areas. And to do that, you needed, like, the window has to stick up above the wall around it. So I went back through and cleaned up the bark around the window, and then I went back through and redrew my my stones. So you can see how I get really deep in those corners. The deeper the better. Like I said, you're wanting to create that shadow and that contrast. And then when you're carving out the sides, you're just shaving it down along the corners and kind of making it round after that. One of the fun things about these houses, you can design it any way you want. You don't have to stick to the standard square windows or round windows. You can make a window just all along the side of the building. So that's kind of what I did here. I got the window and then put the rest in. And pretty much the same process as I did for down below. So for the top, I decided to put some wooden boards in. And the cool thing about wooden boards with these kind of houses also is you don't have to make them straight up and down. You can put them going sideways. You can put them going diagonal. You can have them curved. I've had them curved in different houses before. And then the best way to cut them out is just use your knife. Go along your lines. And then start kind of shaping the boards, undercutting some sides, cutting down on others, and then just kind of shaping it how you think the board should look. So right here I started cutting out the chimney, and I decided to cut it a little bit lower because I wanted to use that whole top section for smoke. I thought it would be kind of neat to have not just a chimney but smoke coming out of it. So you can see right there I'm cutting it down, and then I will cut the sides off and then do the bricks. The bricks are actually really easy, just a little tedious. So you can kind of see right there where I cut around the top and then cut down to that, and then went back and put the bricks in. Now what I'll do with this is my Dremel stylo, which I love for this small type of work, and I just get into those little crevices and clean it up a little bit. A lot of people will just use their knife and cut it up, but I find this works a little bit faster for me, so I can just get in there and it kind of almost like a sanding in the little tiny cracks and all around. So another good thing that I use the Dremel for is to get down into the window areas and dig deep. Like this one right here, I didn't plan on creating it see-through, so I wanted to get as deep as possible to create that shadow, and the Dremel really helps with that. So right here, it had gotten a little bit, I took a little bit too much out of that slat, so I just filled it with some sawdust from when I was using the Dremel, and then put some super glue on it. And like I said before, once that super glue dries, you can carve it again. So right here, I'm just carving out that back and getting out as much wood as I can so I can get those windows through so you can see light through them. And here I'm just finally laying out my door and getting the design carved into it. Okay, so here we are. We're all finished now. Now we just need to decide on a finish. We're finished and we need to decide on a finish. We're not... Okay, we need to decide on a finish.
You should give it a fire finish.
What's a fire finish?
A fire finish is when you light a fire and you put it on top of it and leave it there. And then you get on top of the fire too and die.
Yeah, we're not doing that. I'm going to try something I haven't tried before. I'm going to put sanding sealer on it. Usually I just use straight polyurethane finish. But I'm going to try putting some, since it's such a dry wood, it's just going to soak it up. So I'm going to try putting a sanding sealer in it. Maybe I'll try it on the back first to see how it responds to it. And then put the polyurethane over it. Let's give that a shot. Okay, well there you have it. A fairy house. I did end up finishing it with sanding sealer and then covering it with a couple coats of polyurethane spray. It turned out pretty good.
I think it looks like crap. And it's useless. What does it do? Just sit there?
You're really starting to make me angry.
Well, good. Maybe you'll have one of them brain bleedy things in your head and die.
You're a jerk.
Alright. Well, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the show, the video. And I'll see you next time on DDS Workshop.
Your camera work sucks. I hate you.